This is a video to magpiesm, okay, and more about my thoughts on these issues. Now, magpiesm and about magpiesm, and once again, we get into the first versus third person thing. Um, so I ask for your forgiveness, magpiesm, when I speak of you in third person. I'm conscious of the fact you are watching me, and I'm speaking about you in front of you as well, so I could put it to you. Okay. Um, Magpieism has said he's not going to watch my videos anymore, he guesses, because it's not fun if I need to prove things. And I see from just various comments that he's bothered that I've challenged Professor Anton in this way. Well, Professor Anton studies media, and he's a perfect kind of person to put this challenge to. And now, there's a lot of offensive things said on YouTube, intellectually offensive, spiritually offensive, all kinds of offensiveness that I don't really think it's worth my time to comment on. So the fact that I would take offense at Professor Anton's comments or attitude in general shows that I respect him as a person, and I've taken great pains to mention that I do. Okay. So would you think I'm just not supposed to challenge him in his area of expertise? As part of, he's doing this conversational back and forth, we all get to say anything to each other. I'm not supposed to challenge. Is that how you think an academic thrives, not getting challenged? He comes on here, whether he's slumming or look for ideas from the jungle or whatever he is doing, teaching, whatever it is. You think it's not good for people to be challenged? Doesn't he have enough students that aren't allowed to challenge him that he would grade, that I can't interact with him the way I did and make the comments that I've made? I decided to indulge myself and absorb a bit of offense, an intellectual offense at the idea that he got to set the questions and tell us what the serious questions are when he won't even engage in a complaint that's bullshit, the question he's insisting we answer. That we can't question the question. To be serious, we just answer the questions. Okay, I want to comment on that. That is important in my philosophy, that sort of thing. And all the more so if somebody that's pretty cool does it. Because I happen to think, as I've said many times, that those of us that can need to improve ourselves. So if we're pretty cool and we're this close to something that maybe somebody can help make obvious, then that's a good thing. And these challenges are something that we benefit from. Okay, so instead of letting it roll off my back, which I am quite capable of doing, I took offense that he would lay the questions down like that, because that is how the conversation is controlled. That is how consent is manufactured. That is how the manipulation machine works. You control the questions. You don't get to do that in this kind of conversation. That's for children and willing voluntary students, in my opinion. Okay. When you're with grown-ups, part of what you always debate is what the debate is, what the questions are. Okay. Now I say, hey, your premise here, look, your premise that it has to be, that this to be serious or about time and space. I see a problem with your premise. I would like a chance to argue against it. And we're like, but we don't overlap. I'm sorry. Attempts to disprove my assumptions don't overlap with my worldview. Fine, I can't force a response or an engagement, but I can at some point make a critique so that the silence has some meaning, right? I've taken time on my channel to reply to him, and I think I've gotten insufficient replies, whether he doesn't have time, whatever. The thing is, he does engage people. He has time for dramas. So whatever. I'm going to make it into a statement that there's a silence there. I think there is an overlap. I understand enough from this media background, and I've worked in media and whatnot. I understand that perspective well enough to say, okay, we're going to have some different definitions. Let's try to get them collated. Okay. I have technical answers to why I say things can be material. I'm fully aware of the problem of correspondence, and I believe it's insolvable, right, because I'm a skeptic. I'm aware of those, and yet I use the term material because I have a technical definition of what that means. It draws from perceptions. Okay, so you, magpieism, say, well, maybe you just haven't said anything. You have to give him a carrot. What do you mean? So here was the carrot. Some drama. Okay, I don't think he wants to be involved in drama. I believe his complaint about that. I know a lot about that and how to avoid it, and when you might not want to avoid it. Which parts are just common safety, and which parts maybe are more in the personal preferences aisle. Okay. You know, he doesn't want to be in a situation where he is blind to content-filled criticisms, but he can see the more personality-based ones. That's not what he wants. That's what he's complaining about on YouTube. He's stuck himself in that sphere, and I could help get him out. Okay. But I'm not a self-help guru. I'm not here to make that happen. In the end, I'm only able to claim that I'm making a critique on a channel because it's interesting enough, too. And I can do that for a movie or anything, any media up here we can comment, and that's the point of the peer-to-peer. This is not mass, media. If someone's crazy if they try to just talk to high subscriber count people, that's nuts. This is micro media. It works because we all talk to each other whenever somebody is engaging. And yes, you get to decide what you think is engaging, but when someone offers you a challenge, this is a practice. And like in academia, you would be expected. There's a certain amount of, you only get to ignore a challenge if you really think the challenge is like self-refuting it. What about aliens? Okay, you don't have time for everything. You can just focus on the fact that I dared challenge him, and make the little obvious comments that you can always make in this kind of thing, or you could look at the content of the situation. No, the fact of the matter is, there's good reason. You said my questions in my video, those aren't even philosophy. Well, they are philosophy according to the philosophy of cognition. Are you aware that there's a field of philosophy that is all based on embodied mind, and it's also in psychology and neurology? Are you even aware of that? Do these people not count? You get to say they don't count because they're not asking the serious questions? Well, I think your questions aren't serious. If you're advocating this other school of questions, those aren't serious. We need to answer material questions about a material mind that actually exists in the real goddamn world. Okay, so I can comment on that. I'll do it wherever I have the chance. And I'm pretty sure that Professor Anton, I thought the fact that he felt he should or would apologize to me was misguided. And maybe that he's still not quite understanding how to, if he doesn't understand sock puppets, there's a lot for him to learn on the actual practice of this kind of thing. But I think he is capable of engaging and learning that. And I thought that this was a case where risking some drama was okay because there's a point at which the reservoir is full. I got a bunch of unused ideas. I'm at least going to make a critique. And if it causes some drama, I don't know, that's the only way there's going to be an actual productive conversation at this point. Because the point at which, we can't engage or I don't want to or whatever, and you're just going in circles. When there is something, there's chemicals that could react and make something happen and you could witness it and experiment with it. And you're going in circles anyway, and you're complaining about the drama that gets your attention, and that your attention doesn't have time for these other things. I'm doing a favor for us all by going into this. Plus, I don't know how long it's been since I went into a big meta discussion about how the internet works in terms of this conversational media, in my view, in my very, very experienced view. But I do it regular. And it often involves drama because to point this stuff out requires making comments about people's particular presentation techniques, right? It calls that into account. And I have thought a little bit about this lately, also with Peach, because I like Peach, but the more I like you, the more I want to say, look, this is a pattern of, you should be careful how you frame people when it's constructive criticism. Or just criticism. You can make it constructive, you can make it, just a personal thing. But I do my best to make sure it is possible to make it constructive. When I make these kinds of criticism, I don't just do it blandly, I don't like you. It's not like that, because usually I do like the person on some level, and it's important to convey that, right? And I put in the reasons. My videos on this presentation and academic elitism kind of issues, or whatever you might want to call it, or just this my grasping for answers in what that channel is about. These are productive. They involved actual questions. You could have ignored the drama and just answered the questions. You say, they can't even be answered, too easy. And blah, blah. Yeah, right. Answer them. Prove it.